You are not tired because manifestation is difficult. You are tired because you keep returning to the same inner place and calling it being realistic. You assume for 10 minutes, then you undo it for 10 hours. You fall asleep in the wish and wake up to inspect the world like a judge. And you call that patience. It is not patience, it is surveillance. And surveillance always implies doubt. You do not fail because the law is not working. You fail because you keep asking the world to persuade you, instead of allowing your state to persuade the world. I tell you plainly, the universe does not respond to your desire. It responds to your assumption, not to what you want, but to what you quietly accept as true. Most people try to make it happen. They repeat words. They watch for movement. They wait for a sign. And each time they look outward, they confess inwardly, it is not done. That confession is a state, and states harden. So the unseen burden you carry, the frustration you do not speak about, is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you have been faithful to the wrong conclusion. Now listen carefully. If you will understand one thing tonight, you will stop forcing life. But first you must see the subtle mistake you keep making, the mistake that feels like effort and sounds like sincerity, yet keeps your world unchanged. And when you see it, you will never watch again in the same way, because the moment you stop watching, the law begins to move, and that is where we begin. The world you touch is late. It is always late. It is the echo of an inner decision you made earlier, often without noticing. You call it circumstance. But circumstance is only a visible arrangement, formed around an invisible attitude. So when you say, I have been imagining and nothing has changed, I do not doubt your effort. I question your dwelling place. For a man can imagine a thing and still live as the one who does not have it. He can close his eyes for a scene and open them into his old identity, and the identity will win, because the outer world is not moved by a momentary picture. It is moved by a sustained state. You do not manifest what you think about. You manifest what you are. And what you are is not your name or your history. It is your inner posture. It is the silent assumption you carry through the day like a scent on the body. That is why you can say affirmations and still feel a dull heaviness. You can imagine a beautiful end, and then return to the inner conversation that says, this is taking too long. And the law, being impartial, says, very well. It cannot argue with you, it can only reflect you. So if you have been discouraged, I will give you relief. You are not being punished. You are not being tested by an outside power. You are simply seeing your own state made visible. And the moment you accept that, you regain the only power you ever had. But there is a second mistake, even quieter, more innocent, and it is the one that keeps sincere people trapped in waiting. You will recognize it when I name it, and once you do, you will stop feeding it. Let us go there now. Many think waiting is neutral. They say, I am doing the work. I am just waiting for it to show. But waiting is not neutral. Waiting is a decision. It is the assumption that the thing is not yet yours. And the law does not reward good intentions. It mirrors conclusions. When you wait, you occupy a state that says it is coming, but it is not here. And the world must agree with the not here. This is why signs are dangerous, because the one who asks for signs has already declared that the end is uncertain. He believes only after he sees. But the law is the reversal of that habit. You see after you believe. Not belief as hope, belief as occupancy, the feeling of already. Now do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to pretend. Pretending has strain in it. It has a tightness. It has a nervous need to keep performing. Assumption is different. Assumption is calm. It is quiet acceptance. It is the naturalness of a fact you do not argue with. And you will know you have entered it because you stop negotiating with life. You stop bargaining with time. You stop asking when. You begin to move through your day with an inward simplicity, as though the matter is settled. Now, if you say, but my mind returns to fear, I understand. That is not failure. That is training. The mind returns to what feels familiar. And if the old state has been lived in for years, it will knock on the door like a creditor. The question is not whether it knocks. The question is whether you let it in. And this leads us to the practical secret. There is a way to select a state so cleanly, so gently, that the old state loses its grip without a fight. Most never learn this, and so they struggle with themselves and call the struggle discipline. But the law does not require struggle, it requires direction. And I will show you where that direction is easiest, where the door to the subconscious stands open and the new state enters without resistance. Listen closely. You do not impress the subconscious by force. You impress it by feeling. And there is a time when feeling is effortless. It is the moment you are drifting toward sleep, when the world grows distant, and your body becomes heavy, and your attention turns inward. In that interval, you are no longer arguing so loudly with life. You are no longer proving and defending and comparing. You are simply receptive. This is why the night is sacred, not because it is mysterious, but because it is quiet. So here is the practice. Do not imagine a long story. Do not build a complicated journey. Select a single scene that would be natural if your desire were already realized. Not the getting of it, the having of it. A short moment, a handshake, a simple sentence, a familiar room with a new fact present, and then do the most important thing. Do not watch yourself doing it. Enter it. See from within your own eyes. Feel it with the tones of reality. Let it be ordinary. The more ordinary it becomes, the more natural it becomes. And naturalness is the seal of the subconscious. Now you may say, but my day contradicts it. Of course it does. Today is yesterday's harvest. If you would change the harvest, you do not argue with the crop. You plant a new seed. The seed is your imaginal act, and sleep is the soil. But there is one more element. If you return during the day to inner arguments, inner rehearsals of disappointment, you dig up the seed. You do not mean to. You call it processing. But it is repetition of the old state. So you must learn a simple discipline. Not harsh, simple. When the old story begins, do not wrestle with it. Do not condemn yourself. Just stop and return to the end for a breath, for a moment, until the feeling of already is restored. This is how you remain faithful without becoming tense. And now we arrive at the final point, the point that creates peace, because the greatest obstacle to manifestation is not doubt, it is the habit of checking. And if you will drop that habit, your life will begin to reorganize itself in ways you will not need to announce. You will simply know. Let us close the circle. The universe is not asking you to push. It is asking you to yield. Not to yield to circumstances, but to yield to your chosen state. You have tried effort. You have tried vigilance. You have tried watching the world for proof, and it has made you tired. So tonight, you do something gentler. You stop making the outer world your authority. You let it be what it is, a delayed mirror, and you give authority back to the only place where creation begins, your assumption. Now, when you leave this talk, do not make a ceremony of it. Do not promise yourself a grand performance. Simply decide. Decide what is true and accept it inwardly, not with excitement, with quiet finality. Then, tonight as you approach sleep, enter a short scene that implies fulfillment. Make it real, make it simple, and fall asleep in the feeling that the matter is settled, that is all. Tomorrow, when the impulse comes to check, to measure, to ask whether it is working, recognize the impulse for what it is. It is the old state attempting to survive. Do not fight it. Do not dramatize it. Just return to the end, again and again, with the patience of a man who already knows. And one day you will notice something. You will not feel the need to convince yourself anymore. You will feel a stillness, a quiet certainty. That is the Sabbath. And when you reach that inner rest, the outer world will move without your help, not as a miracle to boast about, but as the natural obedience of life to consciousness. So take this with you. Stop searching. Stop listening for footsteps. Stop asking the mirror to change first. Assume. And let the world catch up to what you have already accepted within. Go now. Not to wait, but to be.